In this lecture, we are going to see the file optimization in WP Rocket Cache plugin. Coming to File Optimization tab, this takes care of three plugin setups that we used in PageSpeed Technique 1. One is the minified settings under W3 Total Cache. Next is Auto Optimize plugin. And the third is Above the Fold Optimization plugin. All these three functions are dealt in these simple options. Under Basic Settings in this tab, we need to select all the three. That is, Minify HTML, which removes white space and comments in HTML to reduce its size. Combine Google font files, which reduces the number of HTTP requests, and remove query strings from static resources, which can improve your page speed score in certain tools. Under CSS files, first we need to enable Minify CSS files, which does the same thing like Minify HTML. It just reduces the CSS file size. You will get a warning. Don't worry, we can uncheck this feature if it breaks your site. So go ahead and click Activate Minify CSS. This second option, that is, to combine CSS files, don't enable it if you are using HTTPS protocol as well as Cloudflare. Combining CSS files may reduce HTTP requests, but it restricts parallel downloading of multiple CSS files at once. If your website has more than 4 CSS or JS files or Google fonts, this option will give you a considerable page speed boost. Generally, ThemeForest themes and plugins use a lot of CSS and JS files. For them, this option is very useful. But you don't need to use this feature if you have HTTPS on your website. If any CSS file of a plugin or your theme is causing issues when minified or concatenated, find that particular CSS file alone and add it to excluded CSS files. Generally, you won't need this option with WP Rocket Cache plugin. But if your theme or plugin is highly unoptimized for page speed, then you might need this. If you're wondering how to find the particular CSS file that is causing issues, don't worry, I shall add the documentation guides link as an external resource to this lecture. Let's leave Optimize CSS delivery for now and move on to JavaScript files. But before that, click Save Changes button, clear WP Rocket Cache, open a new incognito window, preview your website, and check whether menus, widgets, and other design elements are displayed correctly after enabling these CSS options. After checking your website, come to JavaScript files section. Here, you need to enable Minify JavaScript files to reduce JS file size. Like we got in CSS settings, here too, you will get a warning. Ignore it and activate JS minification. Leave Combine JavaScript files option disabled if you have HTTPS installed on your site. Else, activate it. If any JavaScript file of a plugin or your theme is causing issues when minified or concatenated, find that particular JS file alone and add it to excluded JavaScript files. To find that problematic JavaScript file alone, you can use the same guide that I have linked to as an external resource to this lecture. Leave Load JavaScript Deferred option unchecked and click Save Changes button. Clear WP Rocket Cache and preview your website in an incognito window. If everything works correctly, then no problem. You may continue to the next lecture. If images, videos are not loading, or some sliders are not working, or if you are not seeing some elements, you need to disable Minify JavaScript files option. Click Save Changes and check your website again. If elements are distorted, or CSS animations are not loading, or there's no formatting styles loaded, then disable Minify CSS files option, click Save Changes button, and check your website again. The issue is either with your theme, which is not coded perfectly, or with your hosting, which doesn't support some essential features for minification and concatenation of CSS and JS files. If you still can't resolve the issue, take a screenshot of your website before and after configuring this file optimization tab and post in our question answer section. Thereby, I can provide you the correct solution. We shall see the eliminate render blocking of CSS and JavaScript in the next lecture.